So yesterday we did the first day of Passover, the first occurrence of it in Exodus 12. There are a few other occurrences in it. I specifically like the one with Hezekiah in the Old Testament, so if you would like to look that one up, I recommend it. But right now we're in the New Testament in Mark 14, and I'm looking at the, um, well, the final Passover that Jesus gives the Last Supper on. So it was now 2 days before the Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread, and the chief priests and the scribes sought how they might seize him by deception and kill him. For they said, "Not during the feast, because there might be a riot among the people." And so it's saying it's now 2 days before the Passover, because remember that lamb wasn't sacrificed until a few days afterwards. So in Exodus, it talks about how on the 10th of Nisan, you are going to receive that lamb. And then on the 14th, it would be sacrificed. So killed, aka killed. So they're saying, hey, if we do it during that sacrificial time, all of his followers are going to be upset. So we're not going to do it at that time. This just demonstrates how popular he is at this moment. He had crowds of people following him, asking for healing. And, where are they in a few days? We'll see, right? So while he was at Bethany in the house of Simon the leper, as he sat at the table, a woman came having an alabaster jar of ointment, of pure nard, very costly. She broke the jar and poured it over his head. But there were some who were indignant among themselves, saying, "Why has this ointment been wasted? For this might have been sold for more than 300 denarii and given to the poor." So they grumbled against her. And this is very interesting because for two reasons. They're in the house of Simon the leper. And these were not people you would associate with, period. If you were a leper, you were seen as very unclean. You were not invited into the temple. You were not allowed to sit at the same table as other people because they were afraid of you and afraid that your illness might spread to them, and then they would lose out on all of their social abilities as well. So it's so incredible that he not only is in that house, but he's sitting at the table in the house. It's amazing. And so a woman is not named in this one. I forget if she's named in other gospels. So let me know if it's this one's Mark. So if it's in another one, let me know in the comment. But I don't know her name, anyways. And she's giving this perfumed oil. Basically, it's perfumed oil. It's so costly, 300 denarii. So we know Jesus was sold for 30 denarii. That's like a day's wage. Okay, so this is like 10 days worth of wages, and they're grumbling against her, right? But let's go on. But Jesus said, "Leave her alone. Why do you trouble her? She has done a good work for me. For you always have the poor with you, and whenever you want to, you can do them good, but you will not always have me. She has done what she could. She has anointed my body beforehand for the burying. Most certainly, I tell you, wherever this good news may be preached throughout the whole world, that which this woman has done will also be spoken of for a memorial of her." Wow. It's just like he's paying her so much respect. There's this feeling like maybe she knew that what was going to happen. In some of the other gospels, it talks about like her using her hair and crying as she's doing this. Like she's aware of what's going to happen. She anointed my body beforehand for the burying. So she might be actually a prophetess. Who knows, right? But either way, she's highly praised by Jesus for this act. It's very interesting, especially since, she's a woman. Okay. Judas Iscariot, who was one of the 12, went away to the chief priests, that he might deliver him to them. Then, when they heard it, they were glad, and promised to give him money. He sought how he might conveniently deliver him. So Judas is going to the elders, the chief priests, who want Jesus dead, and they are very happy by this, and they're discussing when this might happen. Okay, so the next day, because that was 2 days before, this is the day before. On the first day of unleavened bread, when they sacrificed the Passover, oh, never mind. This is when they're actually sacrificing the Passover, which is the lamb. His disciples asked him, "Where do you want us to go and prepare that you may eat the Passover?" He sent 2 of his disciples and said to them, "Go into the city, and there a man carrying a pitcher of water will meet you. Follow him, and wherever he enters in, tell the master of the house, 'The teacher says, where is the guest room where I might eat the Passover with my disciples?' He will himself show you a large upper room, furnished and ready. Get ready for us there." So again, this is showing it's very much a plan of God. Like all of these actors that are, doing the will of God seamlessly, like, oh, yeah, we do have an upper room. Sure, you could come in. It's even that small action is all within this plan of God that's been taking centuries to fulfill. His disciples went out and came into the city and found things as he had said to them, and they prepared the Passover. When it was evening, he came with the 12. As they sat and were eating, Jesus said, "Most certainly I tell you, one of you will betray me, he who eats with me." They began to be sorrowful and to ask him one by one, "Surely not I?" And another one, "Surely not I?" He answered them, "It is one of the 12, he who dips with me in the dish." So to eat, they would dip the bread into like a salt dish. That's a large part of Passover. They would dip it into salt. It could also be just another kind of food that they're eating their bread with. Who knows? "For the Son of Man goes as it is written about him, but woe to that man by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It would be better for that man if he had not been born." As they were eating, Jesus took bread, and when he had blessed it, he broke it and gave it to them and said, "Take, eat. This is my body." He took the cup, and when he had given thanks, he gave it to them. They all drank of it. He said to them, "This is my blood of the new covenant, which is poured out for many. Most certainly I tell you, I will no more drink of the fruit of the vine until the day when I drink it anew in God's kingdom." When they had sung a hymn, they went out to the Mount of Olives. So this is interesting. So when they had sung a hymn, we actually have a good idea of what hymn that probably was. So the Jewish tradition is still practiced at this time. And at the time of Passover, they sing from the Psalms. Now, the Psalms have a history going all the way back to David. So there's a good, there's a pretty good evidence that this is still it. And so those Psalms, you can just look it up simply. But Psalms sung at Passover. Specifically, it's called the Hallel. Psalms 113 to 118. So we're pretty certain that he would have at least sung 118 at this time, because there was tradition that some would be sung before the actual meal and then some would be sung afterwards. Right, okay, it says here, yeah. Yay, go AI! So 113 before the meal and 115 through 118 afterwards. So yes, it also says here, they are also famously recognized as the hymn sung by Jesus and his disciples at the Last Supper. So if you would like to hear them in the original Hebrew, you can look up on YouTube the Hallel. Let's see what we got here, YouTube. We're probably gonna get ads, guys, I'm sorry. And we're gonna say the Hallel. And so yeah, so you can hear it sung in the Hallel. I also like the the portrayal of it. There's so much dancing, there's so much joy. So I can just imagine all of Jesus and these 12 disciples. They're really singing, and it's really interesting because of the words that are sung. So actually I want to listen to it in English. And I'm going to probably put this one in the description. Is it this one I like? No. Where is it? Let me find it really quick. Is this one. Okay, so I'm going to put this one in the descriptions, but we can...
What would you tell a man who can scroll for hours but can't work for 10 minutes and hates himself for it every night?
Oh.
Oh, give thanks to the Lord, for he is good, for his steadfast love endures forever. Let Israel say, let Israel say, his steadfast love endures forever. Let the house of Aaron say, let the house of Aaron say, his steadfast love endures forever. Let those who fear the Lord say, let those who fear the Lord say, his steadfast love endures forever. Out of my distress I called on the Lord answered me and set me free. The Lord is on my side, I will not fear. What can man do to me?
Okay, so already, like, it's amazing that they're singing this because he knows, like, he already knows. Just imagine they're singing this, and it's like all of this history is building up because what can man do to me? And he's praying at this time right before he knows he's about to be delivered into men's hands and tortured and sentenced to death. Like, it's just, take that in as you're listening to this song by the First Fruits of Zion. He's singing that for us, the Hallel, Psalm 118.
The Lord is on my side as my helper. I shall look in triumph on those who hate me. It is better to take refuge in the Lord than to trust in man. It is better to take refuge in the Lord than to trust in princes. All nations surrounded me. In the name of the Lord I cut them off. They surrounded me on every side. In the name of the Lord I cut them off. They surrounded me like bees, they went out like a fire among thorns. In the name of the Lord I cut them off. Open to me the gates of righteousness, that I may enter through them and give thanks to the Lord. This is the gate of the Lord, the righteous shall enter through it. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. I thank you that you have answered me and have become my salvation. I thank you that you have answered me and have become my salvation. The stone that the builders rejected has become the cornerstone. The stone that the builders rejected has become the cornerstone. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. This is the Lord's doing, it is marvelous in our eyes. This is the Lord's doing, it is marvelous in our eyes. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Save us, we pray, O Lord. Save us, we pray, O Lord. O Lord, we pray, give us success. Ay, 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 oh Lord, we pray, give us success. You are my God, and I will give thanks to you. You are my God, I will extol you. You are my God, and I will give thanks to you. You are my God, I will extol you. Oh, give thanks to the Lord, for he is good. For steadfast love endures forever. Oh, give thanks to the Lord, for he is good. For steadfast love endures forever.
All right, so I haven't seen this, but I feel like I love this so much that like it's worth looking into his publication, The Master's Table. It's for specifically Christians. I can't move this out of the way, can I? No, I can't. Okay, well, it's said here specifically for Christians. But already right there, just knowing that that hymn is sung at that time, and just imagining it's like his last night of joy before he's and with this overhanging of sorrow, it's just so amazing and beautiful. So that we go from then where it's like we're giving thanks, this is a good thing, you know, it's like he's being strengthened. And then I never knew like that's where the stone that the builders rejected had come from. Like I never knew like that would be so significant of a saying to every Jewish household. They would all recognize that as being from the Passover. So very, very interesting. I'm gonna put that in the description if you would like to, you know, listen to it again. I highly recommend it. Okay, so then he went out to the Mount of Olives. So now they've celebrated. He's already sacrificed his bread and blood spiritually. Okay, so spiritually, he's like, look, guys, I'm giving this all away for you. And he's asking now in that hymn to be strengthened, to be given success, and that this day is good. Just what a reminder. Jesus said to them now in 27, Mark 27, Mark 14:27, all of you will be made to stumble because of me tonight. For it is written, I will strike the shepherd, and the sheep will be scattered. So all of you will be made to stumble. You will all make a mistake tonight, just to fulfill this prophecy. Prepare to be humbled, he's saying. Prepare to be humbled, which is true, they are. But I think that is very significant. You know, there's no one besides him who is perfect. And he's demonstrating that the same night. You know, these are his best friends, these are his closest followers, his closest companions. And he's saying, look, you guys are going to abandon me. However, after I am raised up, I will go before you into Galilee. I will go before you. That's also something that was said during Exodus. You know, the angel of the Lord would go before you by day as a cloud and by night as a fire, or so he's saying his sovereignty then, his divinity then. But Peter said to him, although all will be offended, yet I will not. God, I'm never going to abandon you. Everyone else on this earth will abandon you, but I never will, is what Peter says, right? Who at this time is called Simon. Jesus said to him, most certainly I tell you that today, even this night, before the rooster crows twice, you will deny me 3 times. But he spoke all the more, if I must die with you, I will not deny you. They all said the same thing. So that spiritual battle and that battle with the flesh, ultimately, we're going to lose it. Even if we say with our heart, God, I love you so much and I would die for you, God, I know I would. In that moment, you're being faithful and honest. But the flesh is so, it it it's going to win over us if we don't have his help. If we don't have his perseverance in us, his endurance in us, we're going to fail. It's just how the nature of our flesh works. We cannot fight that fight without him. But he spoke, oh, sorry. Then they came to a place which was named Gethsemane. He said to his disciples, sit here while I pray. In a few different versions, I've seen like keep watch, like watch over me, like guard the land, which is a beautiful reference to Adam and Eve. They were told to guard, keep watch as well. He took with him Peter, James, and John and began to be greatly troubled and distressed. He said to them, my soul is exceedingly sorrowful, even to death. Stay here and watch. And I forget which gospel, but it talks about how he was so distressed he starts actually like sweating blood. And if you look that up, that is a very, very high possibility, because that's what's done before a moment of extreme stress. Before people are being put to death, they will sometimes sweat blood. It's been historically documented. So I don't think that's like a miraculous wonder and sign. I think that's just a demonstration of how troubled he is. And he says, please, my friend, stay with me. He went forward a little and fell on the ground and prayed that if it were possible, the hour might pass away from him. He said, Abba, Father, all things are possible to you. Please remove this cup from me. However, not what I desire, but what you desire. So he's saying, look, God, you could remove this from me. You could say that I don't have to do it. You could give me a replacement like you did for Isaac when Abraham was, sacrificing his only son to, well, not his only son, but, his heir. You could do something, but not what I desire, but what you desire. So he does something really special here, and he acknowledges, like, God, you could change this for me, but do your will. And that is so rare, and I'm going to bring it back all the way to Exodus again, Exodus 4 now, and 4:13. So this whole time in Exodus 4, Moses is being chosen by God to do something. And he's like, look, God, they're not going to listen to me. They're not going to listen to me. I just can't do it. And so God gives him so many choices. Show these 3 miraculous signs, right? And then he gets to hear 4:10. He says, oh, Lord, I'm not eloquent. Neither before now nor since you have spoken to your servant. For I am slow of speech and of slow tongue. Like I can't even speak right. How can I lead people through the wilderness? And God again says, hey, who made your mouth? Who made you deaf or seeing or blind? Isn't it I? So go, I'll be with you. Just go, just do my will. And it's this battle of encouragement. And then finally gets to hear Moses said, oh Lord, please send someone else. Right? And so we have this history of this biblical history. It happens quite a few times where these people are called and they're like, look, I'm at my breaking point. I cannot do this. Please send someone else. It happened with Moses. It also happened with Elijah. And, he does. He gives them this choice. He gives Moses Aaron. He gives Elijah. That's hard to say. Elijah with a J to Eliza with an S. He gives them a human help to help them. But this is different, because Jesus is here and he's like, you know what? I'm going to rely only on you and I'm going to trust in your will. And I'm going to do this, God. I'm going to fill out the calling that you have put on me correctly. And then his friends, do end up turning against him, which is interesting. Wow. Okay, he came and found them sleeping and said to Peter, Simon, are you sleeping? Couldn't you watch 1 hour? Watch and pray that you may not enter into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. And so think about this. He's grieving, like he knows he's about to die. Couldn't you watch 1 hour? These are some of his best friends. They can't stay up for an hour with him. Again, the spirit is willing. He knows that in their heart, they would do that for him. But again, this is a battle, and that flesh is going to win. He knows that flesh is going to win without help of God. Again he went away and prayed, saying the same words. Again he returned and found them sleeping, for their eyes were very heavy, and they didn't know what to answer him. He came the third time and said to them, Sleep on now, and take your rest. It is enough. The hour has come. Behold, the Son of Man is betrayed into the hand of sinners. Arise, let us get going. Behold, he who betrays me is at hand. Immediately, while he was still speaking, Judas, one of the 12, came, and with him a multitude, with swords and clubs, from the chief priests, the scribes, and the elders. Now he who betrayed him had given them a sign, saying, Whomever I kiss, that is he. Seize him and lead him away safely. And so, this was a normal greeting, guys. Don't get overwhelmed. This is just like, hey, this is, people do this in, Mediterranean cultures all the time. They'll give you a kiss on the cheek to say hello. So it's something that's done in love, right? You say hello to someone with, a hug. Imagine, he's the one that I hug. I guess that's a more modern version. And it's like you hug your friend. That's someone you do with someone you care about. But he's doing it to betray him. When he had come, immediately he came to him and said, Rabbi, Rabbi, and kissed him. They laid their hands on him and seized him. But a certain one of those who stood by drew his sword and struck the servant of the high priest and cut off his ears. Jesus answered them, Have you come out as against a robber, with swords and clubs to seize me? I was daily with you in the temple teaching, and you didn't arrest me. But this is so that the scriptures might be fulfilled. They all left him and fled. So this is it. All of his friends, all of his followers, they fled, right? All of these people are here with swords and clubs to arrest anyone that's following him. And so they all just scattered, right? Again, this was that prophecy might be fulfilled. Even here, it's describing a certain young man followed him, having a linen cloth thrown around himself over his naked body. The young men grabbed him, but he left the linen cloth and fled from them naked. So there was someone with them, like a young man, I don't know why, but they're even so terrified that he would run away without his clothes, right? These people are going to kill me. That's how fast he's running away. They led Jesus away to the high priest. All the chief priests, the elders, and the scribes came together with him. Peter had followed him from a distance until he came into the court of the high priest. He was sitting with the officers and warming himself in the light of the fire. Now the chief priests and the whole council sought witnesses against Jesus to put him to death, and found none. For many gave false testimony against him, and their testimony didn't agree with each other. So they're making up lies about him, and the lies are all different. So they're saying, hey, we don't have conclusive evidence to testify against this man. Some stood up and gave false testimony against him, saying, "We heard him say, 'I will destroy this temple that is made with hands, and in 3 days I will build another made without hands.'" Even so, their testimony didn't agree. And we know that's in a different, you know, gospel, or I forget where it's in one of the gospels. I don't know which one. But it is essentially what happened, that he was the final sacrifice. After that, I believe there's a history that you can look back on, the history of the Jews, to where their sacrifices were not, what is it? There's like a sign that they can do after a sacrifice to prove whether or not it had been accepted. And none of them after that point had been accepted up until the fall of this temple. And so that temple, he was the final sacrifice. No other sacrifice mattered against, after that. And then the temple fell. And so it's true. The temple fell, and then it was made without hands, because now we have the Holy Spirit indwelling with us. And we're building the temple, without building it in a way. The high priest stood up in the middle and asked Jesus, "Have you no answer? What is it which these testify against you?" But he stayed quiet and answered nothing. Again the high priest asked him, "Are you the Christ, the Son of the Blessed?" Jesus said, "I am. You will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of power and coming with the clouds of the sky." The high priest tore his clothes and said, "What further need have we of witnesses? You have heard this blasphemy. What do you think?" They all condemned him to be worthy of death. Some began to spit on him and to cover his face and to beat him with fists and to tell him, "Prophesy." The officers struck him with the palms of their hands. And so this is essentially why he was, put to death, because he's honest, hey, yeah, I'm the Son of Man. That's a title. That's like, I'm an anointed one, and I'm gonna be at God's right hand, and you're going to notice me, right? Are you the Christ? Are you the anointed one? He's saying, yeah, I am. As Peter was in the courtyard below, one of the maids of the high priest came, and seeing Peter warming himself, she looked at him and said, "You were also with the Nazarene, Jesus." But he denied it, saying, "I neither know nor understand what you are saying." He went out on the porch, and the rooster crowed. The maid saw him and began to tell those who stood by, "This is one of them." But again he denied it. After a little while again, those who stood by said to Peter, "You truly are one of them, for you are a Galilean, and your speech shows it." But he began to curse and to swear, "I don't know this man of whom you speak." And this curse is a little bit different. We say like curse words, but they say like, they it's like a bad swear. It's like a may God punish me if this is the case, right? So he's calling basically God's name into account. So that's why this is such an issue, because you shouldn't do that to tell a lie. He's invoking God's name to tell a lie. The rooster crows a second time. Peter remembered the words that Jesus said to him, "Before the rooster crows twice, you will deny me 3 times." When he thought about that, he wept, right? Because it happened. So all of Jesus's companions, they're in complete disbelief, right? This was just, a day of celebration. They were singing these happy, joyful hymns with him. "Lord, give me success." And they know that this is the Messiah. And they're watching him be dragged off by men, right? And he's like, "I'm going to save you." He's like, "I'm going to do anything I can to save him." And he's helpless to the fact that he can't. He can't save him. He's just not able to, right? And even then he denied him 3 times, right? So this is hard. This is super hard. I mean, there's times in every faithful person's life when they doubt, when they mess up, because we're all human and we all do it. And it's like that amazing, Peter's one of my favorite stories, because that amazing amount of redemption that he's given later on in John. But we'll talk about that later. This has already been a long video. And so then we'll get in the morning. We'll do that next part maybe tomorrow. Yeah, I said that about something else and I forget. Sorry, we'll get to it when we get to it. But yeah, thanks for hanging out with me.